and welcome to the Nutrition by Samantha podcast. I'm your host, Samantha, nutritionist who is on a mission to cut through the nutrition confusion and help you become the healthiest version of you. In this podcast, you'll find expert advice on all things binge and emotional eating, sustainable fat loss, sports nutrition, and all things in between. I hope you leave each episode inspired and empowered to make smarter eating choices. Now, let's get into the episode. Hello, welcome back to another episode. Thank you so much for being with me here today. I will be talking about balancing your results during the silly season because I know a lot of people can stress out during this time when we've got a lot of events on. So I'm going to give you some good tips that can help with this. But firstly, my week, flat out. I feel like I'm constantly running around, doing things, trying to buy presents, working, surfing, everything. I am busy and I am looking forward to a break at the end of the year. I'm only going to have 2 weeks off, but that's okay. That is more than enough because any more and I would start to miss my clients and want to get back into work because I love my job so much. But yes, I will hop straight into today's episode. And I want to start by giving you my food recommendation, and it is not food this week, it is a drink. And it is an alcoholic beverage that you can take with you on, your barbecues, Christmas lunches, Christmas dinners, whatever you've got going on. I always recommend to my clients seltzers. They are such a low calorie drink, low sugar drink, virtually no sugar. And yeah, they don't make you feel bloated, sluggish, or anything like that. They are, I think it's made from sugar. It's like fermented sugar. So because it ferments, there's no sugar left in the drink. But then it has soda water in it and also a lime or some sort of flavor in there. They're always below 100 calories, which is good. And if you have too many sugary drinks, you almost end up with like a sugar hangover rather than an alcohol hangover. Like you feel terrible the next day, more so from all the sugar you've had. That's what this prevents, I feel. And if you're having quite a few drinks, having this low calorie option would be great so you won't ruin your progress or you won't gain weight from all the drinks that you might be having. I always recommend to be mindful of how much you're having so you don't over consume on alcohol. But this is a great option for you. So you can get them from any bottle-o, you can get seltzers. There's so many different brands these days. And even if you're not a fan of seltzers, always recommend to try to go for the lower calorie options, especially if you're going to have a couple of drinks. So what this could look like would be like a vodka lime and soda. That could be a great option. Any sugar-free drink in a can is a great option too. I would never recommend getting alcohol with sugar in it. I'd always recommend the sugar-free option, especially if calorie control is your focus. So that's my recommendation for the week, and that's probably going to be something I'm going to tie into later as well as my drink recommendations during this silly season, but at least we've already covered it now. So to get into today's episode, I wanted to start by just having realistic goals, okay? So if you have a lot of events on, a lot of lunches, work events, client meetings and luncheons with them, and you're trying to lose weight, you have to think about, is this realistic during this month, okay? Because if you've got event after event on and you're trying to lose weight, you might be setting yourself up for disappointment when you hop on the scales that next week. So what I would recommend you do is focus on maintaining your weight if you have a fair few events on. Because if you can maintain your weight while still having all these dinners out and meals out, I should say, then that is really great progress still, because it can be very easy to gain weight during this time if you have so many meals out that you've got going on. So focus on maintaining your weight. If you don't have much on, I would not use the silly season as an excuse to maintain your weight. You can still achieve your goals even if you only have like 1 or 2 events on this season, okay? So that's my goal for you. Just look at what you've got on and what is realistic. For example, I have clients that have nothing on at all apart from Christmas lunch and Christmas dinner. So for them, I expect them to still be able to see results. Whereas I have some clients that have lunches after dinners and work meetings and all these Christmas parties and everything going on. And just this morning, I said to one of my clients, I think focusing on weight loss during this month is probably not realistic for you right now. I think we should focus on maintaining your weight because you've just got too much on, and I would hate for you to step on the scales and not see progress. However, if you do and you do see progress, that's great, but at least you're not going to be setting yourself up for disappointment, because that can be really hard and frustrating for people when they think they're doing well to be achieving their goals, but then they don't see results. So set yourself up for mental success, I guess. Be like, cool, I've maintained my weight, or cool, I've seen results. However, you still shouldn't be gaining weight during this time if you balance out the meals out, and I will help you through this in my next tip. So, just say you have 1 week where you have so many events on and so many lunches and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to maintain this and still eat well? This is my recommendation for you. Plan out your week firstly, which is obviously always my first recommendation. Plan out your week. Have a look at where you've got dinners and lunches and fill that in on your meal plan, okay? And then the next thing I'd recommend you do is fill in your lunches and your breakfasts. If you have a lot of events on where you might not be able to control the amount of food that you're eating, for example, if it's a feed me style menu or something where they serve you the food like an entree, main, dessert type meal, I don't know how to explain it, but like at an event sort of thing, I would recommend skipping snacking in between and just focus on your 3 main meals. And if you feel hungry before you have to go to your dinner, I would always recommend to have a snack then, only if you're hungry beforehand, just to prevent you from overeating once you get there. When it comes to alcohol, be mindful of how much alcohol you're having, especially if you are wanting to maintain your weight. You know, going out and having 10 drinks every single weekend is not going to be ideal for the waistline at all. So be realistic with how much you're having and your goals that you're setting for yourself as well. And always look for the better option. If you're going beer after beer after beer, it's not going to be ideal. Whereas if you're looking for some better options and just having a couple of drinks rather than quite a few, that can be really helpful with maintaining weight. I always recommend when you're out at dinners and lunches to be really focused on your hunger and fullness cues, especially your fullness cues. Stop eating when you are 7, 8 out of 10 on the hunger scale, Have a look at the hunger scale. Stop at 7 to 8 out of 10. You don't need to finish everything that's on your plate. You can leave things on your plate and you don't have to feel guilty about it. Just leave it. Trust me, you will feel so much better when you do, because you won't be leaving your lunch being like, oh my God, I'm so full, I feel uncomfortable, I've ate too much, I feel terrible, and then feel guilty over it. You might feel guilty about leaving food on your plate, but you've got to weigh up, what do you want to feel more guilty for? Leaving food on your plate, or feel more guilty because you overate and you feel uncomfortable and you know you shouldn't have eaten that much? You got to pick your battles there. So on Christmas Day, lunches and dinners, I honestly believe that it is quite easy to eat well at these events, okay? So if it's a barbecue, spit, there's always some sort of protein, right? So there's always a protein option you can grab and pop on your plate. And like I've probably mentioned in many episodes before, look at your plate and put a quarter of it as protein. Then look for some carbohydrates, whether that is a small piece of lasagna, a little bit of fried rice, some potatoes, a piece of bread. Pop that on your plate and put that in a quarter as well. And then load up on your vegetables and your salads. Make that fill up half your plate. Okay? That will this will keep you full for long, okay? You won't be feeling hungry, you'll feel satisfied, and you'll feel good knowing that you have portion controlled. You don't need to overeat and overconsume. I would always recommend don't use this as an excuse like, oh, it's Christmas Day, I'm just going to have whatever and enjoy myself, because you're giving yourself permission to overeat and feel uncomfortably full, and then you'll feel not the best afterwards. You can still have what you want, but also have portion control, okay? That is so important, to still have portion control. You don't need to binge or overeat on this day, especially if you probably have lunch and dinner out at someone's house as well. And when it comes to dessert, you don't need to have every single piece of dessert that's on offer. You can just have one small piece and enjoy that. You don't need to overeat. Have that with some fruit. That will be a perfect balanced dessert. You still get a bit of sugar and you're getting some nutrition through your fruit and some fiber through your fruit too. When it comes to the entrees as well, I would recommend skipping them or looking for some better options, whether that's prawns and, the seafood dip or some veggie sticks and dip. Be mindful of how much cheese and crackers you have as an entree as well. And I definitely recommend staying away from any chips or fried foods like that might be on offer for beforehand as well. Okay, my goal for you for this Christmas is to not feel like, oh, I've overate, I've ate too much. That you don't need to feel like that. You can just feel full and satisfied and be okay with that. Don't use this as an excuse to overeat, okay? Because if you've been working hard on your goals over the year to maintain portion control and maintain eating well, I wouldn't recommend just throwing that out the window because, oh, it's Christmas Day, because then there's also events coming up. Oh, it's my birthday. Oh, it's my husband's and my anniversary. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. And all of these things add up, okay? And you don't need to overeat. You just don't need to. It is wasted food when you overeat, isn't it? I think a big part of trying to eat well, especially if your family is not the type to eat well and you're trying to change your behaviors, is dealing with food pushers. Oh, these grind my gears. Food pushers. I deal with it all the time. So just say you are trying to eat well, you don't even want dessert, you don't want to eat certain things or whatever it is, and people are like, go on, have a little bit, just have a little bit. If you need to be confident in yourself to say no, and do not give in because someone is pushing food on you, okay? You can say no and you can be firm about it. You don't need to people please and have it because, oh, I made this for you. You have to try it. You have to have a slice. Just say no. Or what I would recommend always is I am so full right now. How about I take a piece home and I'll have it tomorrow after dinner? And that way you're not saying no, but you're not saying yes either. You're saying I'll have some later. And then once you take it home, just give it to somebody else to eat, or I don't know, whatever you wanted, to freeze it and have it for dessert when you actually do feel like it. But you don't need to give in to these food pushers, okay? And hey, this is a super quick interruption to tell you about my new program, the NBS Method. After working one-on-one with over 400 people on their weight loss journey, I have developed my own unique formula and method to help clients get from restriction, binge and emotional eating, self-sabotaging behavior, and having no idea what actually works for weight loss to feeling in control, confident, knowing how to deal with their triggers, becoming a more mindful eater, knowing how to eat for fat loss, and finally seeing the weight loss results that they're after. This 5-month nutrition coaching program will show you how to lose weight in a sustainable way, stop overeating, reduce binge and emotional eating, and finally feeling in control over your eating rather than food having control over you. Within the first few weeks, you'll start to feel lighter, healthier, more confident, and energized. You'll be in control over how much you're eating, you'll understand your triggers for emotional and binge eating, and you've learned the necessary steps to maintain your new healthy lifestyle. I'm so confident that you will gain so much value out of this program, and by the end of the 5 months, you will know exactly what you need to do moving forward to continue to see the results you're after or maintain your weight loss results. If this is exactly what you need right now, head to the link in the show notes to book your no obligation phone call to see if it's the right fit for you. Okay, let's get back into the episode. My other recommendation is if someone's pushing food on you and be like, you have to try this, you have to have this, you have to, just say, oh, no, thank you, I'm full for now. And then also just switch the conversation to something about them. So, oh, no, thanks, I'm so full right now. Hey, didn't you get a new dog? What's his name again? And change the topic like that. Or, oh, I saw your kid started Taekwondo or whatever. Just switch the topic. And they will forget about the food and start yapping on about themselves. Trust me, works every time. So that is another recommendation, and they will also forget about the food as well. So once they stop talking, be like, oh, just got to go to the bathroom, and then you've got out of the situation. It's really great. That's the same with alcohol as well. Just say, oh no, thank you. My stomach's not feeling good right now. If you only wanted to have one and they're pushing more onto you, change the topic, get out of the situation. Don't fall for people's food or drink pressure. Sometimes when people are pushing food or pushing drinks onto you, just say you're saying, oh, I'm not having dessert or I'm not drinking today, they start pushing more on you because then they start to feel guilty about their own decisions. So they want you to come down to their level so that they feel good about themselves and they think it's okay then. You don't have to do that. If you don't want to eat, you don't want to drink those certain foods, don't do it. So that is my other recommendation is, be confident in yourself. Think about yourself first, because I also think if you end up like succumbing to food pressure, you may end up resenting this person and getting annoyed with this person. And you don't want that, especially if it's family or friends or whatever it is. So just say, no, thank you, change the topic, or just say you're really full, or just get out of the situation. That is my second tip for Christmas Day. Also, after Christmas, we all have a break. I hope you have a break. If not, I'm sorry. But if you do have a break and you have 2 weeks off or a couple of weeks off, 1 week off, it can be really easy to fall into the trap of having no consistency with your eating. When we have the consistency of a work day and the routine of a work day, it's so easy to stick to a routine without eating too. But if we don't have the routine of a work day, it can be really easy to skip meals, sleep in, skip snacks, just keep on getting takeaway because, I don't have to cook, I don't have work. And that is not going to be ideal for your health, okay? So during this time, what I recommend you do is still maintain some sort of eating patterns that you can stick to. So, for example, on, Monday, the Monday after Christmas, get up, have your breakfast. Do not, fluff around the house like, I'll have breakfast later, and then push out and you're like, oh, well, dinner's in 3 hours now. I may as well just wait for dinner. And then you end up grazing throughout the day. Don't do that. Still have every single meal that you need to have. Even if you're skipping snacks, that's okay, but still just have your main meals. I think it was a couple of years ago, I had that break in between Christmas and New Year's, and I ate crap, okay? Like, I was getting takeaway most days because I just didn't have the routine of a work day, and I just ended up spending so much money on just takeaways. I didn't need to do that. I could have just made my food at home and been consistent with my eating at home. So that is my next tip. If you have a break also, why not start looking at ways we can increase our activity? We have more time on our hands. Go for more walks. Go for walks with friends. Catch up with your friends. Do some activities. Go for hikes. Get out in nature. Just have some fun and make most of the time that you have off with being active. You'll feel so good about it, and you might make new memories. You might have new experiences with your kids as well. See what other active things you can do rather than just lounging around at home. Unless that's what you really need to do, go for it. But if you've got the energy to go and do things, go for it. Go down to your nearest surf beach as well. Do some surfing lessons like what I did. That was really fun, and that can be something you could do with the kids too. But do something active and keep up the activity level. If you go to the gym, keep consistent with your gym workouts. Keep going to the gym. Just keep moving. My final tip for the silly season with your nutrition is don't go into this month thinking, well, this is my last hurrah because as of the 1st of the 1st, I'm going to start eating well, I'm going to start exercising more, I'm going to start doing all of these things. This is a year that changes. Because you're going into it already with the wrong mindset of, this is my last hurrah, I'm going to eat everything I want because everything's changing next year. Because you're already going in with that mindset of restriction or over-the-top exercising rather than balance and sustainability. So if this is you, I would recommend really thinking about what your step-by-step process is to actually see the results you want in 2023 and how you can start slowly implementing little things into your diet and lifestyle now. That will be really helpful as well. Overall, if you put these tips into practice, I think the silly season shouldn't be so much of a drama. It should be okay. You should be able to continue with your progress or maintaining weight during this time. Don't go overboard. Don't think, oh, YOLO, do whatever I want, because then you're implementing some of those bad habits that you previously had if you had changed your habits recently, okay? Now, if you are wanting to improve your health, I do have spots available to start in 2023. So send me a message on Instagram, nutrition_by Samantha. I've got spots in the MBS method to start in January. So I only have spots for 6 people. So if you want one of these spots, please send me a message ASAP so I can get you booked in to start in Jan. If you like this episode or have continued to tune in every single week, I would absolutely love it if you can leave me a positive review on iTunes or Spotify. That would mean so much to me and help grow this podcast. Of course, if you have any questions about your nutrition moving forward, please send me a message or an email and I'll be happy to get back to you. All right, well, I hope you have a lovely day and I shall chat to you next week. Bye.